All right, boys and girls, welcome back to another episode of the Heavy Hybrid Podcast with Big Red and Michael G. I don't know who Michael G is. Michael G.
George is my middle name.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. See, I knew that straight away.
Don't
call him Michael G.
Don't
It's not a trend. It's not a
George.
trend.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
But we got another episode, and today we are talking about
The role of recovery in hybrid training.
Nice.
And this, when we say recovery, I'm not talking fucking ice baths.
We're talking ice baths. We're talking sauna. We're talking all that stuff.
We're talking
compression boots.
Oh my god.
What else do we do? Sunlight on the asshole. All that stuff.
Oh yeah. Sunning,
sunbathing, whatever it's called.
Trend, whatever everyone's doing. Whatever all the influencers are doing. We're eating, and we only eat off chopping boards.
Yeah.
Like these. These are the things you have to do.
And meat and eggs only.
And organic. You know what I mean? Well, this is what recovery is. No, it's not that. We're giving you the real recovery stuff, the stuff that actually works, or the stuff that matters.
Yeah.
Everything else that we just mentioned is additional to that. Although I don't know what eating off a chopping board is going to do for you. If that's what you want to do it. But it actually sounds inconvenient.
Yeah, I'd be pissed off, bro.
Yeah.
Like growth hormone, testosterone, all this recovery methods. We're talking about that. We're talking about the ancestral tenets. What does that talk about?
Liver key?
Yeah, the ancestral tenets. All natty.
Oh,
all
okay.
right, that's going to be today's talk.
All right, so the role of recovery in hybrid training, I guess it goes without saying, hybrid training is hard. Running and lifting frequently in a week is going to leave you pretty much tired and feeling like you need to recover. And your ability to perform is only going to be as good as your ability to recover. If you cannot recover, you cannot perform. It's as simple as that. If you want to lift heavy one day and you tried lifting heavy 2 days before and you haven't given yourself ample time to recover, or manage your recovery and everything else in between, you're fucked.
I'm an expert on not recovering in between sessions.
Yeah. Big Red just loves doing Big Red.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He just goes in, he gets big, he gets red, and he just keeps going.
Yeah. So if you look at why I fail exercises, you got to know why. He ain't recovering well.
Yeah.
Which is why Michael's, this is actually intervention to teach me
It's
how to recover.
But yeah, I think if you want to hybrid train, a lot of people get excited by working hard and love working hard, which is great. But I think you also need to know that there's a time and place to work smart and pull back sometimes. And this goes with any sport really, but if you're just not recovering, you're not going to be able to produce the results that you want. You're always going to have a level of fatigue that masks your true performance capabilities. And if you're always carrying around a level of fatigue, whatever you are truly capable of is never going to actually present itself. So recovery is important, and it also allows you to then obviously recover and go again. So if you have one hard session today, you want to back it up with another hard session in a few days, you better be able to recover in between. So anyway, I've used the word recovery about 1,000 times. That's enough of that. So what are some of the basics? Here's the first thing that I think I want to touch on. Recovery or fatigue does not happen in a vacuum. Okay, and what does that mean? If I have a hard gym session in the gym here today, I go inside and I start working and I have a super stressful day at work. I then call my mum and someone's passed away in the family. This is all just a super hypothetical situation, right? Okay. All of these things that are stresses all accumulate to create the level of fatigue that you will experience. So work stress, training stress, if you're not eating enough, all of these things come together to create the level of fatigue that you will be experiencing. You're never going to just be gym sore and then work isn't
head sore.
And then, you know what I mean? Like all of these things are occurring together. They don't happen in isolation.
Yep.
So gym for load management and managing your fatigue in the gym is one thing, but managing your fatigue and stress outside of the gym with work, home, family life, your diet, whatever it is, that is also just as important.
Yeah.
So doing those things can also contribute or have an effect on your performance capabilities. So when we're talking about recovery and stuff, it's all together. So it's really important you try to manage as many of these things as you can. But the basic things I think everyone needs to get right first are diet, which we touched on a lot in the last episode, which if you haven't gone back and listened to that, please go back and listen to that. Tyson gave us heaps of info on that, and we'll touch on that briefly. Sleep is an obvious one. Bro, you don't need to be sleeping 8 hours a night, but you need to be sleeping somewhat.
At least 7.
Yeah, or something.
Look, if you sleep less than 7, you get by, you'll get it done.
Yeah.
But if you actually want to perform, I know 100%. For me, 7.5 hours sweet spot.
Yeah.
If I sleep 7, does that mean I'm going to train shit? No. But if I just start dipping under 7, I'm 2 days, not bad. But then I'm fucking feeling it.
You feel it pretty quick. Yeah.
And again, it's not always going to be perfect. Don't be oh fuck, I've only got 6 hours of sleep tonight. Because sometimes I've actually had good sessions on shit sleep. Yeah. But you want to try and get that consistency with sleep.
Yeah. And then obviously managing stress. resting enough. I think also like, I don't know, people who, you know, Tyson and I, we kind of run our own businesses and do our own thing. I think learning how to down-regulate is a very underrated thing. And I know there's a lot of coaches listening to this, so this goes to you as well. You need to notice how to switch off. And I can understand it's hard when you've got clients relying on you. You know, being a coach means, you know, we're doing a podcast, we're filming content, I'm training clients, I'm doing programs, I'm training myself, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. There's always so much going on, but you also need to know how to just not do stuff. And which gets very hard when you're doing 1,000 things at once. And that's something I'm still trying to learn to get better at. And I'm sure Tyson is the same, but you need to learn how to down-regulate. You need to know how to just go from that fight or flight to just chilling out.
Parasympathetic.
Like you got to learn to chill out because you cannot be constantly wired. It will hinder you. At some point.
Perfect example again. Last year, blood pressure through the roof because I was just fucking constantly stressed all the time because I don't know how to down-regulate. It was pretty much a wake-up call that I had to teach myself to down-regulate and chill out.
That's because you were running
the business, it wasn't actually training stress. Like training was there, but it was the fucking life stress that was really impacting me because I was just always so stressed. And like I said, like bro, it was like a wake-up call to me. And now things are better. I'm recovering better. I'm feeling better because I'm actually learning to down-regulate. But when we say down-regulate, like everyone's going to be different with that. I would say, like I can't sit on a couch and watch a TV show for fucking hours on a Saturday. Like I will not down-regulate. I'll fucking stress out.
That's stressful.
Like for me, if I go for a walk on the beach, go for a swim, go for a walk outside and chill out. Like you got to find what actually chills you out and don't say, oh, training relaxes me. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
And there's very few instances where adding physiological stress.
We're adding. You know what I mean? We're looking to take away basically.
You're looking to do less, not more. You know, like you can go for a light walk and stuff, but if your walk turns into a 3-hour hike, okay, you're adding. This is now fatigue.
You
know, so
don't turn it into exercise.
You got to just chill it out a bit. But anyway,
heart rate. I would actually say a good thing is probably measure your heart rate.
Measuring your heart rate.
If you start going above, like, what are you sitting at now?
I don't know. I haven't got my watch.
So mine's like 75 at the moment, right?
Mine was at 78 the last one.
Right. So for us, let's say if anything started going above like what 90, which is only 10 beats a mile, you're probably doing something that's like it's not stressful, but it's adding something cumulative to you. So keep your heart rate low these chill times.
So the recovery basics that we've just kind of touched on, sleep, all that kind of stuff, and then how to know if you're not recovering. I guess, you know, and this could be termed overtraining or overreaching, whatever you want to call it. And we touched on this in the last podcast, but feeling like shit all the time. Maybe your performance in the gym isn't going so well. Your sleep is poor. You're in a mood all the time. You have a low libido, which is a massive one. You know, even little things like I know that I am overtrained, oddly enough, when I get picky about what I want to eat. Like I get hungry, but I don't want to actually eat anything. Or I only want to eat junk shit.
Okay.
And then I'm like, I don't
like you have no internal motivation basically.
No. Like I'm like, I know I've got chicken and rice here, but I'd rather just have a couple pieces of chocolate.
Okay.
And then I'll leave it there. Even though I know I'm still going to be hungry, I'd rather have that than think about eating something proper.
Internal motivation is actually a big one.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. For me, that's probably the biggest thing that makes me realize I'm doing too much.
For me, it's eye twitches.
I've gotten that too.
Like my eyelid. Flickers,
my
man.
eyelid.
It's just the left eyelid. I'm like, okay, I know I'm doing too much.
I actually saw an optometrist and a doctor about it, and they asked, "Are you stressed?" I'm like, but honestly, who isn't?
Like, you live in Sydney, bro. Like, come on.
If you live in Sydney, you're always stressed. So those are some of the things that you can like obviously use to kind of get a gauge as to whether or not you're overtrained or you're stressed or whatever it is, and then try to do the opposite for a bit and see how that feels. If you start doing less of whatever those things are, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm sleeping better, I'm eating better, my performances in the gym has started to improve, I'm actually adding more weight to the bar each time I go in there. My runs are actually feeling a lot better, my legs don't feel as heavy. You know, maybe you were doing too much before, and now you realize, okay, maybe I need to hang out a little bit more in this kind of zone, whatever amount of work I can tolerate for a little while before going back up again. And I think a lot of the issue, again, that hybrids will make the mistake of doing is always adding more work, thinking that doing more work is always going to be the answer. It is not always going to be the answer. I learned this the hard way.
Isn't the answer.
Last year, for example, awesome like example of what I did. I was preparing for my last half marathon. I took my running all the way up to like close to 90 Ks a week. It was probably one of the worst races I've ever done, despite how much I was running. Because I was just so fatigued. And that's including a 2-week taper, all that kind of stuff. And still, I just...
Didn't work.
I was just felt like shit. Then, you know, the last race I had when I was running like 40, 50 Ks a week, I performed better, I was faster, even though I was doing less work, everything just felt better. And I realized it was because I was allowing myself that time to recover, that I wasn't so overtrained, that I was actually like improving, not just continuously fighting pushing something uphill. I actually was able to just push something on flat surface, if that makes sense.
So like basically your minimum effective dosage
That's
to
it.
get better. Because we are very good at adding junk volume to fucking everything.
Yes.
Like I said, you think more is going to be better. It's like do what needs to be done to get the adaptations from training without fucking yourself.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, there's always going to be a range that you can kind of tolerate work within. It's called your minimum effective volume, which is the minimum amount of work you need to improve. Your maximum recoverable volume, which is the most amount of work you'll be able to do and then still recover from. You want to stay somewhere in between that. You don't want to stay at the bottom forever because you're not going to improve forever.
Correct.
But you definitely don't want to be at the top for too long because you're not going to be able to recover. So you want to kind of, the way I like to do it is start low, finish high. And then repeat that process, kind of continuously going up, coming back down, going up, coming back down. Yeah.
And if you want to know what yours is, you can buy an ebook for $3,000 and we'll tell you everything you need to know about you. But no, we're lying.
I don't have an ebook.
I don't have an ebook either.
And I don't have anything worth $3,000 to give you either. So, just ask me on Insta. It's actually free.
Look, like it's very person dependent. Everyone can handle different volume, different dosage, different dosages of volume, and knowing where that is. It is just like again, I guess a self-awareness thing that you figure out, and it's really not until reflection when you go through a fucking point where you're just like, I shouldn't have done that. That's how you learn. Okay, that's too much for me. You know.
And for me, that's what it was last year. Like when I did that race, I was actually trying to see what I could do. I was like, let's see what I can do. Like, let's see how much I can do and still perform. And I found that limit.
That was a limit.
And I'm like, even towards the 3-4 weeks leading up, I'm like, I think I'm doing too much. But I'm like, I'm here now. Let's see what happens. Maybe it'll just sort itself out. It didn't sort itself out. The race didn't go well. I didn't perform poorly. I actually got the same time as what I got last time, but
that's not any better.
That's
and you did more work to get the same result.
Exactly. After training for 6 months since your last half marathon, you'd expect some kind of improvement. I actually did slightly worse. So it was enough of a sign that whatever I did didn't work. Anyway, okay. So what to do if on average, or how to know if you're overtrained, we've touched on. If your session quality continues to drop, which we'll explain in a little bit. So if your session quality continuously drops, and that could be in the gym or with your running, right? You go into the gym or you go for your runs and you just feel like they're not getting any better. Maybe you're not hitting the numbers you're supposed to hit. Maybe you're not hitting the pace targets you're supposed to hit. Maybe you're supposed to run, particular distances and you're like, man, this distance is supposed to be easy, but it just feels like shit. I don't know why. There's things you could look at. I think one of the easiest things to do is just pull back for a little bit. Do less for a week or two.
Drop the load.
And then work your way back up, and I think you'll normally be fine. But if that doesn't work, then there might be something else going on that you probably need to evaluate.
When you say drop the load, I don't know about you. If I drop load on anything, it's like I'll know within the second, like after going into day 3, I'll know I'm like, I was doing too much. I don't need a lot of time to figure out like, okay, I'm feeling better already. Like I'm feeling a bit more recovered. I'm feeling a bit more alive. I just know I need to like within 2 or 3 days, I'm like, okay, I was doing too much type of thing. That's me personally. People are going to be different, but I'll know like, I'll start like if my sleep is starting to go to shit or my sessions are going to shit, if I pull back a little bit, after day 2 going to day 3, if I'm waking up, I'm like, oh, actually I'm excited to train again. I'm feeling like just better about myself. I'm like, okay, I was just doing too much. That's how I know.
See, you know what you just mentioned? It took, so I'm going to refer back to that race. It took me 3 weeks to get back to normal.
Oh shit.
So what I did after that race where everything went to shit, because I was just doing so much, I deliberately, when I wrote my next program, pulled back my running and lifting volume heaps. So and I didn't even set a time frame. I just said, I'm just going to do 2 sets each exercise. I'm still going to try and increase the weight a little bit each week, but I'm just going to start really easy and slowly ramp it up. And then with my runs, I reduced my running. I went from like 80 Ks a week down to 30 Ks a week. And again, I'm just going to slowly ramp it up or even keep it the same. I'm just not going to do anything hard until I start to feel good again. It took me 3 weeks to kind of be like, oh, I'm starting to get it back now. Like I think now I'm recovered.
Because you push that envelope hard.
You push it hard, and I was clearly in a overtrained state. And people underestimate not many people will overtrain, but when you're a hybrid actually pushing for something, when you have a deadline, you can very easily push yourself.
The target just becomes like That's your tunnel vision.
That was it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything else, and it fucked me. And it took me a while to bounce back. But in saying that, I definitely think since doing that now, I've learned so much, and I'll never make that mistake again. And it was less than 6 months ago. So it can take a while to bounce back if you are in an overtrained state. So just keep in mind that sometimes doing less for periods of time can give you that chance to recover, and then you can ramp it back up again. It doesn't mean you're losing progress. It just means you kind of had to test your limits out. You figured out where they were, and now you got to pull back and then work your way back up again, I think.
I think it also depends on, like with pulling back volume, you also got to think, am I doing too much in one side of the thing? Is the scale swung unevenly? What I mean by that is, like, are you doing too much in the weight room when you've got your running like as a priority, or your cardiovascular exercise? If you've got an event coming up and you're still like, I'm still just trying to do the best I can in the gym, it's like, all right, well, let's fucking maybe shift that load, you know?
That was another thing I did.
Yep.
I was trying to squat, bench, and deadlift the whole way through.
Yeah.
And look, I was able to do it because I think like literally 6 weeks after that is when I did 300 at the hybrid of the hills comp.
Yep.
So that ended up okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually maybe 2 months after that, not 6 weeks. But you know, that worked out fine in the end. But yeah, like
it was still impacting overall.
Exactly. If you have an event coming up, like it's okay to just focus a little bit more on that. Like right now, I've accepted that my gym stuff, although I'm training moderately hard in the gym, I'm not expecting groundbreaking performances right now because I'm training for my half marathon, and right now that is the priority. Although getting stronger is still somewhat there, but I know it's not going to be as easy or as realistic to do when you're running as much as well, when running is the priority.
Yeah. And you just, like, that's okay. Like these are things called like mesocycles, right? Yeah. Like you can change where your focus is based on what the targets are.
Yeah.
You've got powerlifting coming up this year.
Yeah.
Are you still gonna do that?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you got a comp. He's like, okay, this comp's over here. That's fine. I can work to that. Still trying to work slowly, but like this is the focus. Like this is that destination before I go to this destination. So this is the focus first.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Ebbs and flows.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's it. And look, some people argue that you can work on multiple qualities all at the same time, and you definitely can. This isn't to say that you can't, but if you want to be competitive and if you're trying to improve at one thing specifically, putting more eggs in that one basket will make it go faster. Yeah. So for me, I'm at a point now where I probably, if I want to get as much out of my running as I do, and the same goes for my lifting, I probably need to focus a little bit more on that for a little period of time so I can get it further. Yeah. Because just focusing on everything is good at maintaining or maybe increasing really slowly.
Like this?
Yeah. But when you've got like the deadline coming up like I do for the race, I've only got 7 weeks. I don't have the luxury of just being able to increase things slowly. I kind of do have to focus on that more. And that means that my lifting does have to go on the backseat a little bit. Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
fine. You're human by doing it. Like, it's fine.
And to maintain what you've got in the gym, like, it's quite easy to maintain. That's the good thing. Even if you're taking your foot off, it doesn't mean you're fucking losing. Yeah. You're just maintaining. Yeah. Like, you've also got to think about your total weekly, not even like it's how much you can handle, how much do you actually have time for in a week? Yeah. So for example, for me wanting to train for a triathlon, guess what? The gym's going to be less. Like I spend, let's say, an hour to an hour 10 there. It might go to like 40 to 45 minutes, get the essential shit done. They're still going to maintain my progress. And then the rest of the time has to be dedicated to triathlon training. Yeah. There's only so much fucking time capability.
Oh man, even some dudes have to literally like
cut the gym.
Yeah, or not even that. Like some people cut work.
Yeah, like, Bro, my mate, he's doing Ironman. Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, people who train for like an Ironman, I don't know if they're all like this because I've never done one, and nor have I coached anyone for one. Ironmen to me are like god tier level.
I want to do that.
Like they're unbelievable.
I want to fucking do that.
It's like 25-hour training. Like they're literally training 3 times a day, every day. You can't have a family. Like you imagine trying to work. Like unbelievable what you're doing, and hats off to you. But yeah, you know.
I think about that. Like, so my mate posted this morning. It was a 2-hour ride and then an hour run, and I'm like, don't you have work?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, bro?
Yeah.
And like these people may just have flexibility. I think a lot of, surprisingly, the people that I've known done Ironmans, their job's actually been quite supportive of doing that. Because like, look, if an employee came to me and said, hey, I'm training for an Ironman, I'd be like, you know what, respect, bro. Like, do your work, but also like I'd probably be lenient on this cunt because I'm like, that's fucking impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
So maybe, or just
as long as he's making money.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, maybe you're just single, you got a lot of money, you want to fucking do an Ironman, then respect to that too. Yeah. But that's basically like a second job to do an Ironman.
Oh, it is. It is. Man, even being a hybrid athlete sometimes feels like a second job for me.
We work 3 jobs technically.
Yeah. All right, so we digress a little bit, but I want to quickly touch on some other recovery strategies and stuff like that. So There's active recovery and passive recovery.
Yep.
Active recovery is something you do. Passive recovery is something. Wait, have I got it this?
Yeah,
way,
active
right?
is what you do.
You do.
Yep.
Sorry, brain snap. Passive recovery is something get done to you. Active recovery would be like me having my dinner, me doing stuff like that. Yes.
Yep.
Passive recovery would be me getting a massage.
Happy endings. No.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Well, no. Getting ice bath, all that kind of stuff. You want to be doing most of the active stuff. The stuff that you're doing is going to do 80% of your recovery-based whatever adaptations, right? Physiological recovery is going to happen majority of the time from active things. Extra things like sauna, ice bath, blah, blah, blah. Those things may make you feel good, but at a cellular level, they're probably not going to change all that much compared to everything else. They may make you feel better mentally, and they may give you that more instant satisfaction / gratification, but physiologically, they're probably not going to move the needle much more than doing the other stuff is.
If you prioritize that shit over what actually is going to give you
You're
recovery,
fucked.
you're fucking stupid. We're looking like the 80-20 approach here, okay?
Yeah.
You're like, all right, sweet. Like, for example, I do ice baths and sauna and stuff. But am I neglecting sleep? Am I neglecting my food? Am I neglecting it? No. If I was doing that, I'm like, I'm going to go for an ice bath. Or like you made a good point. Am I going to deprive myself of an hour and a half? So let's say, for example, I didn't go to sleep well tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to bed at 10. And I'm going to get up at 4 a.m.
do an ice
for an
bath.
ice bath. When I could have slept 2 hours earlier. 2 hours more. What's going to help me recover more? The fucking sleep.
The
you know?
sleep.
Yeah.
There's a saying Stan Efferding says, are you stepping over $100 bills to pick up $2 coins?
Yes, exactly. That's a good saying.
It is,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah.
true. Like focus on the basics. The other stuff might help you.
Yeah.
but
Possibly, maybe.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Even then, the evidence really isn't conclusive. Anyway, I'm going to quickly touch on ice baths because I fucking am so sick of it.
He hates them.
I hate
Don't
them.
hear it.
Okay, I don't. The only reason why I hate them is because people idolize ice
Yes,
baths
correct.
and they misuse them so much.
Fantastic.
If I told you right now, listeners, we just had a crazy gym session, and I'm going to teleport us somehow to the Antarctic Ocean. We are in Antarctica right now after a hard gym session, and we're going to jump in the Antarctic Ocean that is negative 10 degrees with all the dolphins and fucking penguins or whatever. Whatever. Does that sound, okay, listen to me, does that sound like it's gonna improve, like, does that sound enjoyable, other than the fact that there's animals there and we're in Antarctica? Does it sound nice to jump in freezing cold water after a gym session? I don't know, man, like, for me, that sounds stressful as fuck. There is nothing about that is gonna remotely improve my recovery. If anything, it's gonna stress me out more. I'm freezing, I'm cold, I'm fucking wet, I'm stressed, I'm shivering and shit. This isn't recovery, I'm sorry. Your blood flow actually moves away from your muscles. When you jump in cold or anything cold, if it's cold outside, your blood, your body does this automatically to save you from dying. It moves all of your blood around your core or what's it called? Main organs, what are they called?
Main organs like liver, kidneys and shit.
Yeah, what are the ones that keep you alive? Essential organs?
What organs? Yes, your essential
You know what
organs.
I'm
Yes.
anyway, is that
Your
what I'm
heart
talking-
would be...
Yes. It moves the blood there to keep those warm and functioning because those are the things keeping you alive. But things like your biceps and legs, if you've just trained them, they actually get less blood flow after training when you go somewhere
You
cold.
impede your adaptions when you do that too, if you're weight training.
Yes, and if you're weight training, you might even impede them, which is a whole nother discussion. I don't want to touch on that too much, but it's just making it worse. And I'm like, people want to be like, oh, ice bath, this, that. It might make you feel good after because now you're numb and you're like, oh, fuck, that was so good. I did an ice bath, whatever. Yes, you've got that mental gratification, but physiologically, I promise you, you are no different other than the fact that you're cold and numb now.
Yeah, you won't get any, like, if you're doing it because you think this will improve something, like I will recover faster, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And please, if you don't believe me, there's so much research on this now.
Ask ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Ask him. I dare you.
No, I reckon ChatGPT is going to say that ice baths are good. I feel like it would. You really got to.
ChatGPT.
You got to. I don't know. I haven't looked it up myself, but I feel like you got to dive into the proper systematic analysis. And unpack this yourself. Now, I'm talking about ice baths. Then there's all other research on contrast therapy, which is jumping in between hot and cold. Blah blah blah. Look, that again is a little bit inconclusive. Some say you can get spikes in growth hormone and
bro, I don't do it. Like legit,
I don't know.
they say all this shit.
I don't know.
I tell you what, look,
for the average person, I'm like, bro,
don't fucking do it. And they're expensive, bro. Okay, you're adding stress because the money's coming out of your account. You're like, I just paid $80 for this session. You're like, do you feel better? Like, no, I'm actually like, I can't pay for something. Like, yeah, nice, good fucking choice.
Yeah.
I do it. Not because apparently of impact and growth hormone, any of this shit they do it. I do it because actually for me, I like one of my recovery methods is spending time with friends And spending time with friends is kind of like we're off our phones and shit like that. And I have fun chatting shit with them and doing it. Do I get an amazing recovery from what we do? No, I actually get the recovery benefit and the stress reduction from spending time with friends uninterrupted.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you about, like, we'll wait till we finish, but talking about recovery methods that we do that we've noticed that help us, you know?
Yeah.
Because, like, for me, social time, because we're working so much, like, I'm like, when I actually spend time with mates, I'm like, I feel fucking so much better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think, for me, I don't know if it's socializing, but definitely things like just being able to go for a walk around the block with my missus. Although I would say walking is probably still, in most cases, can be increase stress for some people because it's still exercise.
If you're walking to get steps, or you're like, oh, I've got to get to like this, I've got to go for a walk. Like, no, probably not.
Yeah,
you know?
but like for me, like even just sitting and chilling near the water or something is always nice. Hanging out with mates isn't bad either, as long as no one's
it's not on the sesh or the sauce.
or no one's doing your head in. Some stupid bullshit.
If you're hanging out with friends you like,
Yeah.
and it's daytime and you're sober, and maybe it's like a good food, it'd be sweet.
Yeah,
you know?
you're fine. You know, it's that kind of stuff. For me, actually, like even doing other things, like I love drawing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you're a drawer.
That's the kind of stuff that kind of chills me out.
Yep.
I think more than anything.
Yep.
Even on the odd occasion when I used to play PlayStation, that used to be fun.
Yeah.
But although I don't really play anymore.
Yeah, I'm the same as you.
Yeah.
Because like for example, like Michael was saying, like same as me, when I went away to Perth, I knew I needed a week of chill, right? But I can't do more than a week off, otherwise I'll start to go mental.
Yeah.
That whole week playing PlayStation, playing Spider-Man 3, I'm like, this is the fucking sickest game ever.
And then
I got to 90% completion. I couldn't even bring myself through the last 10% because I'm like, I'm so fucking off this. I need to go be productive again.
I'm
you know?
done. I need, I've overused this now.
Yeah, and that's actually probably a good sign that you're recovered enough where you feel like the urge, like, I actually have to get back and go do shit. You
Yeah.
know? I'm excited to go back and train. I'm excited to go and do this.
Yeah.
But also you could probably be an idiot and be like, oh, I'm so excited to do it. Like, you may need to chill.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short, I guess that would just go on to down regulating.
Yep.
I think
Learn to
down
down-regulate.
regulating, managing your sleep, all that kind of stuff is important. And then just one thing we kind of haven't touched on is like just load management and auto regulation, which I'll just briefly touch on what those two things are. When you go in the gym, if the weights are moving slow, if you don't feel good, if you feel under recovered, fatigued and everything, don't go and force yourself to do a hard session.
Yeah.
Like try and see what you can do. Maybe you might surprise yourself and be like, oh, actually I'm not as tired as I thought I was. But if you do your first set and you're like, man, it's just not happening today. I got to go for a PB, but I have to do a PB. Like you don't have to. Like you can just go a little bit lighter for that session or even a couple sessions and then come back to it next time and you might even feel more recovered and you might even go beyond what you were expecting to do.
Yep.
And the same applies to your runs. If one day you're like, oh man, I really got to go for like that 5K, at 4-minute pace or whatever it is today, blah, 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 but my legs are heavy, I just feel tired, I haven't eaten enough. Bro, don't do it. Like you can just do a slow jog, do something more chill, save it for another day. Like you're only compounding the fatigue at that point. Like forcing yourself to work harder than what your body physically wants you to do is not going to benefit you any more than just chilling out, maybe still training, just doing a little bit less on whatever that day is, and then coming back to it in a couple of days' time.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose progress, I promise. If anything, you might actually get more.
I think so too.
Yeah.
If you're like, maybe like I feel pretty fucking like, again, things are heavy, things are not working. If you get like 2Ks in and you're like, oh, this is not happening.
Yeah.
And you stop and you go, fuck, I should have done it. You're probably going to realize in a few days, you're like, oh, actually, I can actually give it a good crack now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, like, this happened to me maybe not 2 weeks ago. I was supposed to do a hard run on the Tuesday. My legs just weren't feeling it. I started the run, doing my warm up. I'm like, my legs aren't good. I'm not going to be able to run fast today. So you know what I did? I ran a little bit less. I was supposed to do 9Ks. I ran 8Ks. And instead of going fast, I literally just did the whole 8Ks slow. And honestly, even by going slow, it still felt pretty hard. But you know what happened? In 2 days' time, I revisited that exact same run and I felt so good.
Yep.
That run that I was supposed to do 2 days before, I did the exact same thing. In fact, I did it way better than whatever I was expected to do.
Yep.
And it was just because I just gave myself that little bit of extra time to recover. I didn't push that session. I just did just enough. And then I went home, rested, did everything else as usual, came back to it 2 days later, and I'm like, fuck, I feel so much better. And I actually did better than what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sometimes you don't have to force yourself just unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And don't get so fixated on whatever's written in your program. Like you can make educated decisions and be like, okay, maybe I've got to swap the days around. Maybe I need to do 1 or 2 extra or 1 or 2 less sets today just so I can account for that recovery.
Yeah. If you have a smart coach who knows how to program properly,
Even better.
And you talk to them about that, if you gave me that, like if you gave a reason like that, The coach will will have a conversation with you and say, you know, right, yeah, you can revisit that. If the coach gets up you for missing it or saying like you should have just fucking pushed through, probably get another coach.
Yeah.
And if you're coaching yourself and you do that, well then probably get a coach. Because like I said, like auto-regulation is just, you know, again, not every day is going to feel amazing, but what we're saying is like, if you don't have that gear to get into and your headspace isn't there and you don't have that physical capacity, take that break. And that's why I kind of like looking at the week. And let's say, for example, you got to do a long run, a hard run, and what's the other one you do?
Easy run.
Easy run, right? If today you're like, I feel fucking good, maybe today's the day you do the hard run.
Yeah.
If you're just in a good, you're like, you know what, bro, I feel fucking gun, you know? Yeah. And because the good thing is, you know, it's like, oh, but Monday is supposed to be my long run. You've got the rest of the week to do the long run. If you're like, I feel good for a fucking hard run, and you ace it on a Monday, and then you got the rest of the week to get those other two in, it doesn't really matter whether you did your hard run Monday this week or fucking Wednesday or Friday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes?
Exactly. Yeah, no, exactly, that's right. And and you kind of got to just work out what works for you. But people get so caught up on what's written on the program, or this is what I always do on this day, that they then end up fucking themselves.
Yeah.
Have 4 shit sessions in a row when all they had to do was change one of their sessions around, and they would have had a great training week.
Yep.
You know, so don't get super fixated on that. But the point I guess we're just trying to get across here is if you're not feeling good in the gym, don't go as heavy as you were supposed to. You're not going to lose progress by going 10 kilos lighter.
Yeah.
I promise you're not. You're not going to lose progress by going 20 or 30 seconds slower than whatever your pace was on that particular day. It's fine. Just revisit it at another time. And in fact, you might come back better.
Yeah.
So
be smart.
Yeah, you got to kind of get used to, like when it comes to managing fatigue and recovery, to get good at it, it's going to take time. You got to think on your toes. But I think for most of us, or for most of you, it will be trial and error. But once you get it, like you'll be so happy that you kind of just fucked up a little bit.
Yeah, I think this is where like it comes in more of like, it sounds weird to say like spiritual like enlightenment, like you got to be in tune with yourself, but you kind of do.
Yeah.
Like you really got to fucking check yourself sometimes, and just be like, am I not like, do I need to change this, or am I actually being a bitch? Because sometimes you might be being a bitch and you might just need to show up, but other days you're like, no, I know I need to fucking give myself that pat on the shoulder. It's like treating like a really good mate. Like Michael's like, bro, I'm fucking, if we start going for a run, he's like, bro, I'm fucking fried today. I can't do this hard thing. And I look at him and I'm like, all right, you know what, we'll go for a lighter run.
Yeah.
You do that to yourself too. You don't always have to just fucking be gassing yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Am I speaking shit?
No,
we're all right.
I think we speak shit
Sure,
anyway.
yeah.
Doesn't matter what we do. I feel like that's everything.
That's it. Any other recovery methods you do for yourself? Like I said, sleep is very important to me.
Yeah. My sleep sucks.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just shit.
I don't look at my watch. Look, guys, as much as I like to do this watch is for tracking my fitness activities. I will not use it for my sleep, because every time I sleep, even though if I wake up feel good, if I check this and it goes, you had a shit sleep, it actually fucks with my head.
Yeah.
So I won't look at that.
Yeah.
But I know for myself I need to get relatively good sleep to actually feel better.
Yeah.
Then I would probably say for me, nutrition. Then I would say like chilling out. To chill out actually stresses me out if I chill out too much.
Yeah.
Causing me stress.
Yeah. I just, for me, just down regulating whatever.
Down-regulate, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but just not thinking about work is the main one.
Yeah,
If I
100%.
can just not think about
Yes.
work and training, I
Yes.
know I'm normally in a good spot.
Yep.
And I don't know what I'd be doing. I could be doing nothing, but if I'm not doing those two things,
Yeah.
I'm good. If I'm normally cooking something, baking,
Have a hobby.
yeah, do anything
Yeah,
else. That is an
draw.
exercise.
Yes, exactly.
If your hobby is more exercise, let's flick to a new one.
I'm learning Spanish.
Yeah.
This guy's cooking.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Learning-
What do you know?
Hey?
You don't know anything.
I do. Like I do. What do you want me to fucking tell you?
Continue this
I
later.
swear, I'm speaking
Hola.
Spanish. ¿Cómo estás?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, muy bien. Yeah, I know that. Very
Todo
good.
bien?
Hey, you know what is that? Hang on, what I'm trying to think of.
¿Dónde
here.
está el baño?
I don't know. Oh, bathroom. Where's the bathroom?
Yeah.
See there. And then there's one. If you
That's
want to
it.
say, if someone cuts you off in traffic, right?
Bastardo.
No, bastardo. You say, muy verte el culo. That means move your fucking ass, bro. Move your ass.
I don't know how. Okay. I don't know how we got here.
Statistical wild turn.
Yeah.
Get a hobby that's not fitness, maybe not Spanish, maybe cooking is a better option.
Yeah. Anyway, that's today's wrap
Yeah.
on whatever
That's
the
the
hell
scat.
we're talking about recovery. Next episode, we're going to be looking at running for strength athletes or lifters, and then we'll look at hydration strategies for hybrid athletes as well. But
Hydration's a good one.
yeah, for now, that's everything. You know where to find us on Insta, social, all that kind of stuff. Like this, follow us on Spotify, Apple
Leave
Music.
us a review.
Leave us a
please.
review.
Yeah.
And
5
give us
star.
5 star?
Yeah.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, 5 star. Actually, yeah, 5 star on both. Yeah, 5
If
star.
you give us
Apple
a 4 star, you better have a reason why.
Yeah.
Anything less than 5,
Yeah.
give me a reason why, please. Like seriously, if you don't like it, just comment why.
Yeah.
Because it will help us so we know in the future.
Potentially. If you say it's because we go on tangents, I'm not changing that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Have we got anything like that?
Or on tangents?
No,
everyone's giving us 5 stars. Everyone's
Yeah,
like,
okay, good.
there's
We
at least
went
1,000 5 stars, I'd say. At least.
Anyway, thanks for listening. See you next
Thanks,
time.
guys. See ya.
Bye. Lol.
Nice. It's only 3 o'clock. Fucking earth. I got an hour to fucking go sort my life out.